I mean, you couldn't tell me in good faith and great confidence, Ethan, it doesn't really matter. Even if everyone has seen Mob Psycho 100 and really taken to heart the important ideas and concepts of the show, it wouldn't really change how much better the world is. Nah, Ethan. Even if everyone understood, some of the important ideas of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, it wouldn't really make the world a better place. Man, I just don't believe that for a second. Mob Psycho 100 made me a better person in a world that threatens to tear me down into a worse one. I strongly recommend watching the show. What is up, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful time. My name is Ethan. I go by Lord Ethan, and I'm an Overwatch collegiate varsity coach of coming up on 6 years. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a player called WinstonGamin. I'm going to go get the replay code going because this one's a little bit of a long one. We're going to be ranting for quite a while. So basically, minimum pausing going back. This one's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me. But here's the gist. This is a right on the cusp of diamond kind of player, platinum, diamond, and they're looking to push into masters. They've hit diamond on every role, but they don't know what is keeping them out of masters. They're asking me, is my positioning good? I feel like I take good angles and flanks. I try to play with my team when the high ground doesn't feel safe at that moment. I know positioning and movement is important, so I try to prioritize off angles and flanks. I know my aim could definitely improve, but I also know that isn't the main issue. Hold on. I think I did something weird in my thingy. Here we go. I feel like I get into good positions and situations, but I always die in some unlucky/unexpected way, and I honestly can't see what I should be doing differently. If anyone could give me some quick pointers, that would be much appreciated. And yeah. Wait, you know what? I've got you with the quick pointers. We're gonna lightning fast blaze through these. So this is Soldier 76, and there's already a tacit recognition that off angles, flanking is important. I would say really more like off angles. You get into like some pretty precise sciences when you're talking about flanks, and making comments like the aim isn't too good is funny to me. Maybe that's a comment that wasn't made, but I hear it all the time, so I'm kind of blurring things together. But that's actually some nice, crisp, clean aim right there. This is a little bit scary to be here down the main angle. It's now here and up here that we've gone particularly like observably wide, and it's not necessarily that these are wrong places to be. It's just that if we get punished, we won't be able to be surprised. We're more than 1.5 meters away from our walls, corners, covers. I also don't really care too much for jumping around those corners to line up those shots, but no harm, no foul. And honestly, I really don't mind the fact that we started on the high ground. We're up there for a little bit, did our poking, got marked, took a little bit of damage, and then took a different angle. So then my question is, if we understand that our timer, right, the amount of time, that's scary, by the way, and that's a demonstration of like how wide we are, right? And the fact that, we could be even further left, right? We could be battling for an angle over here, force him to hook over here, and we even have a little bit safer, he's got a narrower hook angle over here than he does for your traversal, just back over to where the rest of your team is, right? So this is all pretty notable stuff. It's all very, very like minute, but again, if we understand that the amount of time we have to play in a certain position is limited on the basis of pressure and damage and attention from the enemy team, then what are we bailing on this position so quickly for, which is fine, to play this position for so long, which I find a little bit contentious. And is also the first instance in what will likely be at least a couple where I am calling your bluff. You like to off angle? Then what do you call this? What do you call sitting here for as long as you did? With that said, I like the way that we've been rotating so far. I like as well that kind of the way that we move is related in some way to the amount of pressure that we're taking, the amount of damage that we sustain, and as well the kind of the profitability of some of these angles, right? Who is there to shoot, right? Can I capitalize on something my teammate is doing, right? Can I follow up on some of the damage with my hog? Love the lightning quick rip on the visor as well. Sorry, wow, my accent came out there. I was on to say tactical visor and visor, but it just came out as visor. I liked the visor. It was in tandem with your Juno ult. You know, you're down a tank. Why not use 2 ults? You guys are managing to hold this corner. But once again, you know, kind of looking to come up on the end of our time in this position. As long as we're not drawing aggro and attention, it's actually perfectly fine to stay up here as long as we're also making sure we're getting value and not leaving our teammates out to dry, right? Now, I would still consider the possibility of coming up here, especially since we used our ultimate earlier. So finding an opportunity or finding every opportunity to generate that as quickly as possible might be enticing, but isn't necessarily required at this time. Our hogs are engaged in mid-off there, and your hog really trades, but I'm opinionated towards that. You know, you really popped off in that ego duel there. And after this, it's really important to start making sure we're getting advantages, right? So as long as we can get advantages from this position, but man, it's so samey. We've been up here for so incredibly long. The Mei knows, the Emre knows, they're off the Emre, they're on the Bastion now, right? The Zenyatta might off angle to orb you a little bit. I'm surprised that people haven't pressured you out here, right? So it's interesting. Ooh, yeah, and there's the scary hook, right? And I mean, I don't think he even peeked the corner and then saw you and then hooked you. I think he just went for that hook because he knows that you are there, right? So let's take a look and see. He might just be hooking up there. Oh yeah, he's scouting with his brain. He saw the bullets just flying from that angle, right? So in another lobby, are you liable to get hooked there, right? In another lobby, has someone off-angled, has someone taken this position, and now you're getting pressured from 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 angles, right? Are you able to play more left, more right? Are you able to take high ground? Is there a faster way to build ultimate than just farming off of a tank who hasn't competed around this first corner of Route 66? This is a 26-minute game, so something here must end up going off the rails, right? We're going to get pressured out by the Iari, and it's nice that our Hanzo gets that duel. We've just been up here for so long. It makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I don't really typically like playing the same way from multiple fights, so if I were in this situation, I would be getting like a little bit antsy at this point. But this is all fine. It's all A-okay. But I think part of the reason it's fine is because, like, we're not being challenged up here, right? No one is really paying attention to us. I like this. I like the visor, I think. Do I? Yeah, this is fine. Yep. This is good. We get hooked off the high ground. Okay. This is all right. Yeah, this is A-okay. All right, so we're running all the way out. Yeah, I thought that this was interesting. So we turn back and we fight the Mei without, did we grab the mini pack? Yeah, we did actually. So we grabbed the mini pack. Oh, that's why. That's why we went back so far. Here we go. All right. So we even grab the mini health pack, and then we turn around when we actually have the absolute license to just continue running, and that's what I would probably advise us do here, right? This is we're just by ourselves. Like, Mei knows how we're gonna repeak. We're repeaking on a timer. We're disadvantaged because we've taken more damage than she has. She has more of her cooldowns. We used or we don't have our healing pad, right? So you're only gonna heal. Actually, is it the same amount of healing? I don't actually even know. But your healing is still over time, right? And you can probably just run off. You've gotten her attention, right? And so it's really, really tough that you end up dying. And I think it's not so much that you end up dying, but rather that, like, you die at the time that you die, right? It's possible that either an earlier death or a later death would have been a little more advantageous. It's possible that a death that is more in line with your team's recontest with their waves enables your team to do a little bit more in that fight. But I think overall, my thing for first point is there's just no competition of your position here on high ground. And so I don't know that we can look at that and be like, yes, this is normal, right? Like, yeah, you can definitely stay up there for as long as you'd like on Soldier 76. No one's ever going to mess with you. That is totally untrue. You have to have a plan for if somebody jumps you, for if someone pressures you, right? Do you know when Hog has hook or when he doesn't have hook so that you know what your peak timers look like? Are you being forced to play 20 meters away? Is no one really jumping on you, right? And so it's not necessarily anomalous, but it's definitely very, very nice that I kind of left to poke and prod and even pick from these high ground positions. But even like as little as like all of my team dying like off of each other's waves at just the wrong time and just the wrong positions, right? If your team is dead and you have to run, then either die with your team or run away, but don't run and then go back to fight and then, something like that. Man, that's terrifying. I don't understand why we don't bail off the high ground immediately, right? Run to the stairs, get a little bit closer to one of our supports, right? Bastion is launching basically what is essentially a 2-tap, so, and we try to challenge it for a little bit. That occurs to me as something that I might be compelled to do if I were playing the legs here myself, right? But we're looking to compete with some of the best players on ladder, right? And so you don't have to compete with one of the, with some of these high-rated players or some of these really talented ones at the times where their character is at, like, playing at or for their maximum value, right? Does that make sense? So just let the Bastion have that space. Let him have the angle. He's done a little bit of damage to you. If you take any more, then you're going to die. That's a huge disadvantage for your team there. And so you just want to make sure that you're living. And if that means, like, getting off the high ground, looking for a new position, that's a-okay. This game, I'm calling the bluff. I don't know that we actually like to off-angle as much. And again, we aren't really needing to off-angle, but I've got another video on my channel, like something along the lines of, like, guerrilla warfare will win you all the way in Masters. And it's absolutely true. And I'm definitely not seeing, like, the guerrilla warfare style Soldier 76 running to this angle. Oh, I'm over here. Oh, haha, I'm over here now. Oh, hello, I'm over here. Hey, look at me. And I think that that's just as viable a way to play as the kind of turret 76 here that we've been able to play so far. But, like, they know exactly how we're playing because we've only been playing one way, and because they know exactly how we're playing, these picks on us at these times with these abilities are attainable. It's not as if you shouldn't be dying to that Iari ult, right? That's a nice, what is it called? Revenge, they call it in Overwatch. Oh, we're doing this thing again. We're doing the same thing over and over again. Even if it's not costing us big time in this particular scenario, it's bugging me. Stop doing that. Fighting for the same angles at the same times against the same cooldowns from the same positions as in every fight, the previous fight, the fight before that, right? When honestly, like, if we had just avoided this whole section of this fight and come over here from the start, right, and tried to find some off angle to divert some attention, right, I think that it's possible we're looking at, I'm not going to analyze this too intensely, but it's possible that they're all looking at our hog because we don't have any off angles. So look at us. We're playing a straight line formation. The only person that their hog is to look at is all four of us, and the only person that we can look at is their hog. Our hog is in and doing something, right? Could you be here? Could you be on the high ground? Could you have gone all the way over here on the low ground and found a final blow on this Bastion as they trade out your hog, right? We're playing all the way in this back line, and that's honestly not where I put Soldier 76. That's where I'm putting Ashe. That's where I'm throwing Widow. I don't mind Hanzo playing up there. If you want to play Sojourn at certain ranges or at certain times against specific matchups, sure, throw her around there too. If I'm playing Mei because I don't want to get picked too early and their Ashe has my number, their Cassidy is absolutely rolling me, so I want to play some of the longer ranges so that their TTK on me is a little bit lower and I have cooldowns to bail me out. Maybe I'm positioning there, but are we really wanting to play maximum range Soldier 76 on a map as like layered and I'm trying to find a way to say it, but like you've got everywhere that you can go on this map, and we have confined ourselves to how many positions? We have confined ourselves to 1, to 2, and now honestly to 3. Once you're getting pressured, you can bail. You can absolutely just F off is what I call it. It's my policy. Just go F off, right? Go leave. You got their attention. They have you scouted. They have you marked. As soon as they see you, they're going to be able to instantly put together a plan on how to kill you if they haven't already developed one, just on the basis that they know the rules of the matchup, right? And that's going to be the way to get to Masters, is you have to be ready to adapt to these. Oh, this is so scary. Okay, I know I'm talking about playing a little bit closer to the fight, but I'm not talking about playing a little bit closer to the fight down the main angle. I'm talking about getting on to some of these side rat angles, only appearing for moments at a time to convey a little bit of damage to the enemy so that you manage to attract or elicit a response out of them, get some of their attention onto you, force a cooldown, or for someone to turn at a critical point in time, make their Ana turn around and sleep and nade you and miss both abilities because your only intention was to go over there, pepper her, make her nervous, force cooldowns, and then get out. Now she has nothing for your hog, right? Now, this isn't that specific scenario, but hopefully you get the idea that I'm going for, and this is definitely not the time to be playing where we are just playing a little bit too fast. It very much looks like my gameplay, not gonna lie. I die like that all the time because I'm trying to play really fast. I'm trying to build my ult as quickly as possible. I'm trying to get right back in there and continue playing the games. But the times that we are dying in this particular map are a little bit disconcerting. They aren't, they're actually pretty hindering to our teams. Ooh. And I think that if we are going to be dying at these times, we could be dying in some more, like, important positions, is I think the way that I would say it. All right, let's see. I don't mind this off angle. I also don't mind this timer. Okay. So now, honestly, I actually don't mind, like, just running across. Okay, I like that, though. Ooh, yeah, that's a little bit tough. Honestly, don't think I mind running up to the Bastion just to steal the Mega. Because it's interesting. If you do that, if Overwatch 2 boils down to two principles, timing and map control, then it isn't interesting that we let him get the map control at a time where he doesn't have his cooldowns, and because he's able to get the map control at a time where he doesn't have his cooldowns, it buys him enough time to get his cooldowns back so that he can continue to control the map, right, and reduce his TTK on you. He now has his cooldowns. We're re-peeking him, and he has his cooldowns, right? And we're tracking that, right? We know that Bastion doesn't have form, right? Because, hold on. Because we just saw it here. So if you want to get to Masters, this is the way to do it, right? Their Bastion doesn't have form. Bastion, no form. And now he's vying for our map control. We yield this spot instead of fighting him at a time where he is more vulnerable to us. Do you have your stim pack? Yeah, 100%. It's almost as if our good idea to fight the Bastion comes too late and after an arbitrary drop from the high ground, right? I see people who can pressure me, so I'm going to yield my position, right? This is really interesting because it's like, huh, I'm not going to spend too much time putting it together, but it's really interesting that on first point, we were unwilling to play anywhere else because we weren't getting pressured, and then here in a couple of other scenarios, it actually feels inconsistent. I don't know that you have a rule set for when you are and aren't going to drop high ground, because it's a little bit inconsistent. I do like that we get that Bastion pick there. It's definitely, for me, it's a little bit compensatory for the other, for some of the other lapses in judgment, as I might put it here. I don't know how much I care for grabbing that Mega too early, but that's like a really like small thing. And then we're just kind of losing the mark on our targets, right? We took damage from the Mei, and then we did this for the Bastion earlier too. But we immediately took damage from the Mei, and then it almost like we forgot about her, like we forgot about the Bastion. This is really interesting as well. And this is like, I do this too. I can't turn left. If you're playing against me, literally like move left, because I'm not going to turn left. I find it easier to turn right, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing less like turn right, and then we're over here, and we're only turning one way, and like you want to keep your head on a swivel. We should really be like making sure that we know where everyone is at all times. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a crazy schizophrenic person. I find the way that we're turning is kind of funny. I guess leave a comment if I'm a crazy person or if you think I'm onto something. I don't know. I look at too many of these. I actually look at so many VODs now. I have so many submissions. It's absolutely mind-boggling. I think that I am going to be cooked by patches. At some point, eventually, you guys will have to resubmit codes. Those of you who understand that a replay code has invalidated, or that a patch has invalidated your replay code, you know, after not seeing a video pop up in, you know, like a couple of weeks. But yeah, I hope I'm able to keep doing this. Life is about to get very, very busy as well. So I really appreciate all the submissions. It gives me so much content, so many great viewpoints to watch the game with. And so definitely don't stop sending those. I love getting the replay codes. I love seeing the notes. And I love getting to take a look at these. So, all right. Decent pressure. Might want to consider a different position. And I actually like pushing through here. We're probably going to be on our own a little bit. Ooh, that's really interesting. She is just standing there waiting for you to do the damage here. Your team hasn't moved around the corner, so we're looking to kind of anchor back to them. We might actually just be able to sit inside this hallway, right? Instead of peeking out and taking damage, we could probably just hang out for a little bit, lose the mark on us, right? They might step back out into the open and hang out there for a little bit. These are some nice connections, but timing and map control, right? They have control over this angle of the map, and you chose a time that they're all free to run and peek you. And then, oh man, even despite our Kiri theory coming to enable us to continue play this angle. Again, we could just unpeak, wait for a second. Sometimes winning Overwatch is actually just about standing completely still for like 2 seconds and just letting the game play, right? And then finding, oh, that's so unfortunate. That's actually so unfortunate. Yeah, definitely should have waited and just let the game play. And that way, consider the game like a story or a river, right? You're not going to have every single character in every single chapter. You're not going to have every single little piece of sediment flowing all the way from the beginning to the end. It's going to pick up in course where the story goes or where the river leads, right? So be willing to play the flow a little bit here and say, okay, I got to play faster. I got to play a little slower. I have to take a different section of the map. I have to, man, like it's tough. Like and again, I'm not going to go back and rewind because this one is a pretty long VOD here. But the times that we're dying are times where, like, we're the only person to look at. It almost looks like we're engaging for our team, and it's very reminiscent of I see myself in this gameplay where I'm like, damn, I also peek out, like, way too early, right? I've won games, like, in just today's session where I sat there at a corner, and it made me so mad to sit there at that corner, too. I wanted to go play the game, and I just sat there at that corner, and I waited till I knew my team was engaged, and then checked to see that my team was engaged, and then made sure that my team was actually fighting before I pop onto an off angle, and I get so much value, right? Just because I'm willing to play the flow a little bit better. And it's not necessarily that I have to play slower because I'm a certain type of player. It's really just like the rules, right? The matchup rule set, the compositional rule set, the hero rule set. Who am I playing and where do they fit into the map, right? Absolutely, I can be as engaged as early as I'd like as Widowmaker because I have a sniper rifle and can play from an effective range of almost 70 meters, right? And so the fight phase really doesn't mean quite as much to me on that character, right? Or at least my engaged part of the fight as Widow. But as Soldier 76, it's really important to know, when you have to be in, when you have to be out, when you have to be further away, when you have to be a little bit closer. Honestly, I really generally like all of the timings on your tactical visors. I don't think I'm going to end up having a single conclusion about the tactical visors. My policy is if you have it, use it. It appears that WinstonGamin has already either done their homework or adheres to this policy themselves. Man, just drop from the high ground. Yeah, absolutely. Just the longer you're up there, the closer she is to her next dynamite, I'd probably just bail as soon as possible. That's a nice connection. Okay, perfect. Good heal pad, absolutely. A little bit of scouting doesn't hurt, so, figuring out if people are around you are good. You can re-engage into this. Nice connections on the Mercy. I think you're pretty vulnerable up there, so it's possible that you would have to play that even on an even shorter timer. And then we play the exact same way, right? Like, why confine ourselves only to this section of the map? There's a whole section of the map over here, right? So as soon as you get pressured out of a position, just spend the whole next fight phase running all the way over to your next good position, right? And Soldier is really funny because every single character always wants to be running to their next good position, right? Every 8 to 12 seconds, right? And so that's absolutely pertinent in this review. Every 8 to 12 seconds should be looking to move somewhere else, right? And even here, your Life Weaver has coaxed you into a better direction at a time where your hog really needed a little bit of care. But if you're starting on this angle from the beginning, it's possible that you can alleviate some of the pressure that's being applied to your Roadhog. And if you're alleviating the pressure that's on your Roadhog, it's possible that your supports can pay a little bit better attention to the both of you, all right? Maybe that word slop sounds like it doesn't make any sense at all. Well, it sounds like you're being scouted here. This is kind of what I mean earlier, like by maybe you should just be dying with your team, right? Playing a little bit KDA, it doesn't appeal to me, and honestly, it will also enable us to, like, be on a really bad timer here. Like, oh man, we're already engaged. My hog is critical walking through choke. Their Mercy is trolling. Oh no. Okay. This is not your effective range. This is not your effective range. It has been longer than 8 seconds. This is not where I place Soldier on the macro positioning chart. This is not the matchup that I want him taking. The Mei, Iari, who can jump up and down off the high ground, the both of them, right? While our team is engaged down the choke point on main before we've even managed to get the card around a corner at a time where we are within 20% of our complete ultimate generation so that we can let a rip on that as early as possible and absolutely never from that position position at this phase of the fight, because there's a relationship between the objective where it starts when the fight begins and where it finishes when the fight resolves either favorably or unfavorably. And I promise you that you're not going to win that fight favorably without the tactical visor, and you're not going to win in a fight where the cart is starting over here favorably by tactical visoring from over here, right? So there's just no foresight. There's no forethought, maybe is the way that I should have phrased it. There's no consideration for, like, where am I going to be 8 seconds from now? We see red and we fire. We point and we click. But I want to see more, right? Because the aim is actually crisp. And the only reason that we would feel bad about our aim is because oftentimes we find ourselves not playing from the positions where our aim is actually good and our shots are consistent and reliable and not very difficult to hit, right? I see plenty of people who make aiming harder on themselves who are actually incredibly mechanically competent, who have some marvelous mechanical output, such as our hero WinstonGamin here, right? Who are really just, I mean, how are you supposed to land your best shots while under a ton of pressure from a Mercy walking out of spawn at a time where you probably shouldn't even be there, right? Although I do like the scouting. I do really like the scouting. Yeah, I like this. I don't know if I like this range. And this is a weird visor to me. This is the first visor that I don't think I've liked. I would also do this, though. God, I see so much of my gameplay. Am I diamond? I'm kidding. I'm so sorry, WinstonGamin. That was so rude. I am rated diamond, by the way. I'm like right on the cusp of platinum. In fact, I've been losing a lot. So it's not a dig at you, Winston. I promise. It's a dig at me. With aim like this and just a cleaner timer on your engages, I think you're actually easy masters. Easy climb. Be patient, though. Holy smokes, read some of these fights a little bit, a little bit less stressfully. You're trying to, like, have your uptime maximized and be, like, lock down your angle. I'm calling it turret 76. That's so incredibly rude, but you are, I'm sorry, WinstonGamin. You're turret 76 to me now. I do like your dedication to the high ground, but I'm not going to necessarily say that we overvalue it, but man, we spent a lot of time on the high ground when, like, you know, the maze right here, right? The stairs were over there. The mega packs on second point are all on the low ground. In fact, actually, did you know that there's not a single high ground health pack on second point Route 66? Huh. How strange. I like our dedication to some of the targets that really matter, right? Ooh, I like that. If Overwatch 2 boils down to two principles, timing and map control, isn't it nice that you were on the position of the map, the section of the map? Okay, all right, this is... No. Yeah. I like that, though. I like that. Not the right time, not the right place. I've mentioned this in other reviews. You have an advantage. You got the pick on the Iari. Play the advantage. Just play the advantage. That's all you got to do. Just sit there and be like, I am satisfied with this pick. Now turn around and walk away, right? Had this back in the day when I used to play what was it? Age of Empires on the Nintendo DS with my buddy Colin when I was sleeping over at his house. We would get a pick on the enemy hero. That's like the premier title unit of a civilization, and then our call immediately as two dumb, stupid little idiot fourth graders who fancied themselves high level tactical Age of Empires 2 thinkers. We would sit there and say, "He is dead. Now run away." Because we want to play our advantages. After we've gotten a pick, after we've elicited a cooldown, after we forced somebody's hands or made them commit to a decision. And let me tell you, when you have Overwatch players and you give them either a bad decision or a good decision, what do you think they're going to pick? They already chose to play Overwatch. You think they're going to pick the good decision now? Right? The good decision would be to uninstall, to put this game behind them and move on to greener pastures and brighter futures, right? And so, no, right? Once you make them make a decision, right, then keep the ace in your hand, right? Let the game play out, right? See what the dealer deals as the next card and be confident that you aren't going to need to bluff this round, right? Because you already have the advantages, and most importantly, you know it too. The kill feed shows you. The confirmation of the elimination shows you right smack dab in the middle of the screen. The big dopamine hit that you get when you see the red skull pop up right in the middle of your screen, and you look over up at the kill feed and you see a little red reticle indicator to show that it was your mechanical output, your incredible test of skill to land the precise critical final blow onto a target, right? Those are the kinds of things that tell you you have advantages, so play them. Don't go try your damnedest to expose yourself to disadvantages and encumber yourself with things that you don't need to be occupied with, right? Like fighting the queen or like running around to the back lines while the queen chases you. Just live. Just run and live. Play the guerrilla warfare style 76. If the Hazard dives, you say, okay, you can have this high ground, because guess what? Hazard can't do anything to my team while he's up here, and I can do even more, or I can do just as much from this angle, from over here on this high ground, by flanking around. I mean, look at this. If we are literally just at a different place at a different time, we get the final blow on Mercy, but we are so committed to playing in one specific spot that we actually do end up getting so hard pressured. And it's so interesting that the only reason we take this much pressure, earlier when he dove us, we had the opportunity to just drop off the high ground and then take almost no damage after that, but we decided to limit test against a tank hero, a war of attrition over the high ground, and he forces us out so far that my horse is losing HP, dwindling main, while we try to recover after taking a 1v1 with a target that, like, we don't want to mess with, right? So this is really, really unfortunate, right? Be willing to yield the position. If you get pressured out of a spot, just go play somewhere else. Let them have that, right? Timing and map control, right? You honestly probably don't even want to be there at certain times, right? Like I mentioned with the Mercy elimination that you might have been able to secure, right? You want to be there at that time, right? So that you can follow up on the Hazard. And, oh man, let me tell you, this is the same spot as you have been playing the entirety of every single round or every single moment that occurs on this particular objective or this particular stretch of the map. And, but, if you had been playing anywhere else, then this would be a different position, right? That you could swing in and out of and have options from, establish angles on. In an FPS title, are you actually going to tell me that there is only one angle to play? Then why are we playing it? Right here, right there, right there, and there, and there, and there, right? And I'm pointing to my monitor at like an invisible, here we go, at there, right? Move, go somewhere. Every 8 to 12 seconds, the fight occurs in phases. You only have a certain amount of time that you're going to be able to play and control an angle. And if you really want to control the map, then it involves doing a lot more than just looking at that one angle, damaging one particular target, especially when we have this incredible mechanical output. I'm sorry, are you going to tell me that you don't think you can land some of these same shots from literally almost anywhere on any of these maps? I will call your bluff about that too. I love that sprint perk. That sprint perk is so awesome. Yeah. So yeah, look at this. This has happened a couple of times now. And this is probably like the one of the last times that it's gonna happen here. But like, kind of see how forward we are. And that's gonna make things challenging. And then see how, like, timing and map control, right? See how they are pushing our squad. They have so much space because our tank goes half HP and doesn't have enough pressure behind them. We do have some really nice ult timings, and hey, maybe it's actually not too bad that the fight got concentrated away from itself. That looked a little bit dire to me for a moment, and we are actually still gonna end up losing our tank. Although you do get to the high ground, and it's very nice. I didn't really like the resource drain that we observed. Emerging from our formation. I'm glad that it didn't actually hurt us. I wonder if we should have died and lost, but I'm not necessarily invested in that as I am now the Genji, and how his mobility will help us really find some of these angles that we would like to play. Oh, that's a little bit unlucky. Yeah, we kind of trapped ourselves. I think, yeah, we needed to back up, and then now we just got to get out. So this is good. Yeah, nice. I wouldn't repeat that. I would just, get back to the team, and you don't have to force yourself to play here. That's fine. Now you just have to get out. We're probably overstaying our welcome here. Although, are we? Maybe not. This is probably fine. I don't mind the sustained aggression on the Bastion. Yep, that's a good time to pick that. I think this one is definitely a little bit greedy. Yeah, definitely a little bit greedy. All right, you've gotten your advantage. You can just play that. Definitely is the case there. All right. Oh, no. Okay, don't worry. That's not what lost you the game. But Overwatch is very much about getting the advantages and then rolling with them and then not forcing ourselves to incur disadvantages. This one was a fun one. I actually had fun with this one. And absolutely, I'm going to be so excited for all the future Soldier VOD reviews where I say basically the same things as I do in every other VOD review. But at least for today, a huge thank you goes out to, oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind. I have to look at the names. I should really be more prepared for this, at least if you ask me. WinstonGamin. How could I forget that? WinstonGamin, a huge thank you goes out to you for providing your gameplay to be showcased. Let me find a better song to end on. Holy smokes. A huge thank you goes to you, WinstonGamin, for providing your gameplay to be showcased, marked for improvement, shared with others who might need to hear some of the same insights, or who just like hearing them in general. If you guys would like to have your VODs reviewed for free on the channel, use the Google form below and submit your replay codes there. Guys, it is absolutely impossible to measure my gratitude for those who support the channel, whether it's a subscription, likes, comments, or even a donation to the channel. It buys me time to commit to creating these videos, answering questions, and engaging in our shared passion. At the end of the day, these are difficult and expensive times. No one should ever be compelled to be charitable to my YouTube channel. And at the end of the day, the best way to support is to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, or if you guys are interested in affordable professional standard coaching, then you guys can also DM me, Lord Thethan, on Discord for full block one-on-one VOD reviews, discussions, team VOD reviews, scrims, whatever. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, thanks for sticking around. If you're a regular, you already know how I feel about you. If you are a hater, leave a comment in the comments below. And if you're just along for the ride like myself, then stick around. It's gonna be pretty fun. Hey guys, I already mentioned, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I didn't say enable notifications already, so I'll say it now. And thank you guys all so much, so very much for watching. Remember to be good to each other, guys. Be fair to yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next one.